Welcome to Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio, News Talk 1180 for the best in Saturday Talk Radio at 1 o'clock, and on 1230 KGO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the very best in Wednesday Talk Radio on 1410 KERI on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Your host is Clay Koerner, and I'm Marty Pay, and behind the big board is Greg Held, our producer. Hey, Clay, great show with Pedro Rios, candidate for 32nd Assembly last week.
It was. I'm really sorry that Rudy didn't show up.
Well, we did receive a call from Rudy, and he'll be here next weekend. So.
Well, he also was at the great debate yesterday. So.
Oh, good. Okay, fantastic. I like Pedro. He's a sharp young man. I think he's going to do well. It should be an interesting race between the two of them. So. In the first half, we had Carlos Baldovinos and Tim Calloway from the Bakersfield Rescue Mission. Don't forget, they have a celebration on October 11th, and you don't want to miss it. So check their website to find out more about it.
Hey, they're doing a great job with the homeless.
Yeah, they are. And I mean, what a reputation that place has.
I mean, cleaning up the streets of Bakersfield.
Yes, it's fantastic. The streets of Bakersfield, that sounds like a song.
We could write one.
Somebody just handed me the information. The Bakersfield Rescue Mission 60th Anniversary Celebration Banquet. Thank you, Greg. Tuesday, the 11th, at October 12th at 6 p.m. at Valley Bible Fellowship. And the guest speaker is going to be Ryan Dobson, Dr. Dobson's son. Musical guest Sean McDonald. And the phone number is 325-0863. Give him a call. It's tickets are $35, and it's for a worthwhile cause. But today we've got a great show. For the full hour, we have Jeff Taylor from Save Bakersfield Committee and Marvin Dean from Kern Supporters for High Speed Rail to talk about, you guessed it, High Speed Rail. Marvin, Jeff, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Thank you.
You know what's interesting, Marty?
You got to be real close to the mic, both of you.
Thank you for
You know what's interesting,
us.
Marty, is we just finished. This is debate season. We just finished with the great debate.
Yep.
With the politicians, and now we've got a little discussion on high-speed rail, which really ought to be interesting.
And I think I may have a debate set up that I'll tell you about a little later for between now and November. So.
Well, wonderful.
Yes. Marvin.
How you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Great. And I want to say before I start, I really appreciate you guys putting on this show for your audience to hear both sides of high-speed rail. So I'm excited about the opportunity today.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I know, Jeff, for you, it was last minute. You were kind of a sub for somebody else, and Marv's been excited to do this all week, and I appreciate you guys coming on. So,
thank you.
So we'll try to make it as fair and unbiased as we can. So, Marvin, let's start with you. Why do you think this is a good idea? The high-speed rail is a good idea.
Well, just a couple bullet points. A $6 billion investment into the Central Valley, Kern County. That's first phase, and then the second phase of this project goes from Merced to Fresno, from Merced to Fresno, and then Fresno to Bakersfield. They're just going to go from Bakersfield to Southern California. So I think Kern County and the Central here in Bakersfield is going to be more activity in this part of the valley than any place. So one is that type of investment into this valley, the jobs and the spinoff of that money circulating to this community, I think is going to benefit all of us. The second part of it is the transportation needs of this state and this valley within the next 20 years. So this is a big project. We're looking 20 years out, and we're going to really need with the growth that's coming. The other part of it is we have to deal with the air quality issues in this valley. I serve on the San Joaquin Air Pollution District Advisory Environmental Justice Task Force. EPA has fined this valley $29 million because of the air quality. Most of that is traffic coming through here, these trucks. I believe we ought to put a toll road up on 99 because of the traffic coming through here. They leave the pollution here, and we've got to pay for it. But that's another subject matter. But if we don't deal with the transportation needs of this state in 20 years, it's going to be unbelievable to have all those cars stacked up on the freeway. The jobs, we're looking at in terms of construction and permanent jobs, somewhere between 100 and 450,000 jobs in the build-out of this project. The growth of the business community, startup business opportunities are going to be available for this thing. And there's a 30% goal for this project. And my main reason for doing this, and not in terms of people that are opposed, I don't have any problem with them, but my main concern is those jobs stay here first. The people in this valley are going to benefit from this thing. And there's a 30% goal, and with an emphasis on local. And if we're not ready for it, guess who's going to get those jobs? It's not going to be people in this valley. So those are the primary concerns, and I'll talk more about it later.
Okay, and Jeff, tell me why you're against this high-speed rail.
Well, there's many reasons why
get close to the mic.
There's many reasons why I'm against this project. One of them is the jobs that it's going to destroy. The estimates of jobs that Mr. Dean gave you are much elevated. Mr. Dean's beloved jobs project will make temporary jobs to destroy their neighbors' business locations, their jobs, their homes, community infrastructure, quality of life, and culture. On August 9th, the Bakersfield City prepared a memorandum that states there will be 321 Bakersfield businesses and 1,750 Bakersfield jobs affected by this project. I'd like to know what the statewide figure is on affected jobs. It's got to be astronomical. As many as 272 homes will be destroyed, and it will displace as many as 833 residents. Many homeowners, as you know, are upside down on their mortgages right now, and they won't be able to afford a down payment on a new home. Hundreds of millions of dollars of Bakersfield City facilities will be affected, including the City Corporation Yard, portions of the West Side Parkway, Rabobank parking lot, City Communications Facility, Ice Sports Center, parking, and the City Place apartment complex at Mill Creek. Several important private properties will also be affected, including the City Employees Credit Union, Bakersfield Commons Project, Bakersfield High School, Mercy Hospital, Bakersfield Homeless Shelter, and the Bethel Christian School, and as many as 7 churches in Bakersfield alone. All 3 of these alternative rail alignments that are currently planned will cut through the heart of Bakersfield and will have similar devastating impacts to our community. In most instances, they are only feet apart. There's 12 to 15 miles of elevated train tracks that will reach a height of as high as 90 feet and will cut through the entire width of Bakersfield. The station will be elevated. Every property within sight and sound of this elevated train track will suffer south of the tracks devaluation.
Our guests in studio, Jeff Taylor from Save Bakersfield Committee and Marvin Dean from Kern Supporters for High Speed Rail, talking about high speed rail.
You know, I got questions for both of you. Marvin, you talked about $6 billion investment, but this is going to run over $100 billion. Where's the other money going to come from?
Good question. Okay, when I talked about the $6 billion, my focus of this project right now is the Central Valley. But really what's going to happen, the state, as you know, the legislature authorized the sale of $8 billion worth of bonds, not 6. Billions going to Southern California, the billions going to Northern California, and $6 billion coming to Kern County. That's the first, and that's the money they have in the bank to ready to go. Now, we know that this project, and when it's built out, is going to be, the projection to be $68 billion. And I would probably be one to tell you by the time 20 years out, that number is probably going to be inflated a lot higher than that, like it was initially $45 billion.
You mean, Marvin, the government usually doesn't come in under budget?
Not only that, example, when I left high school, my first job was PG&E on the Diablo nuclear power plant. That was a project, it was a 25-year project. So I know about big projects. That project, the projection of what that was going to cost of that plant, and the challenges that they had to have because of environmental and all the concerns that this project is going. So I know things change.
Sure.
Because of the projection, because who knows what it's going to look like 20 years out.
Well, and plus the government's never been any good at projecting.
Right, and that too. I mean, so let me just say, I have some real issues too, okay? I mean, so I'm not opposed to those people that are opposed, because I think we're going to get a much better project by keeping the opposition and keeping the pressure on them.
Sure.
Because I have some concerns. As an example, my building might be taken out on the second phase of this thing. And I believe, and I'm going to get back to the question that you asked, but I just want to state a couple of things, because I think everything that the previous speaker spoke on are concerns that we ought to take in, and they're real challenges. Somebody's going to be affected. My position, I haven't taken a position on the routing of this thing. I believe it ought to be from an engineer design standpoint, what makes the most effective way to get this thing done, to get the objective from the design standpoint. It's going to affect the least amount of people, because somebody's going to be affected.
Oh, yeah.
And whoever's going to be affected, we should not play around with in terms of paying these people fairly for the taking of that property, whether it be a business, relocation, whether it be a home, whether it be agriculture land. These people ought to be paid fairly, because I told you, I may be affected, so I too want to be paid fairly. And then the second piece of that is a lot of people are going to be, if they're made whole, can get a new home, a relocation of a new business. Because I would say some people doing these projects, when they're a relocation because of a taking, have come out better with the new facility. But I know a lot of people have emotional attached to their property and don't want to lose that property. I can understand that.
Sure.
But somebody in progress is going to have to that's going to have to be affected.
Right.
If you major, whether it be a freeway expansion. But my concern is let's do it what makes sense and pay people fairly. But now going back to the question about the cost.
Let's take a break here, and when we come back, you can pick up with that answer to that question, okay? We've got you for the full hour, luckily.
Sure, okay.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Kern Radio, News Talk 1180.